France is set to join a growing list of countries formally recognizing a Palestinian state, despite strong opposition from the U.S. and Israel, ahead of this week's UN General Assembly here in New York. French President Emmanuel Macron told Face the Nation that recognizing a Palestinian state was the only way to bring about a political solution to the ongoing conflict. Listen to this.
Recognizing a Palestinian state today is the only way to provide a political solution to a situation which has to stop.
All right, for more on this, I want to bring in CBS News reporter Olivia Gazis, who's joining me now live from the State Department to talk about this. Good to see you, Olivia. So France and Saudi Arabia are set to convene a meeting on a two-state solution at the UN. That's happening today. What do we expect to come out of that meeting?
That's right. Just blocks from where you are, Vlad, the French president and Crown Prince MBS of Saudi Arabia are convening a summit this afternoon that is expected to gather dozens of heads of state who are expected to issue statements about what the French president has called a path to peace and stability in the region. It's part of his effort to reinvigorate diplomatic support for what he and other leaders had warned had receded as an effort as Israel has continued its military campaign in Gaza. It comes on the heels of recognition by the UK, Portugal, Canada, and Australia just yesterday of a Palestinian state, who have joined the more than 140 countries who already do so. The U.S., of course, has called all of these moves performative and said that it has warned its allies that Israel could take reciprocal moves as a result of these unilateral acts of recognition. Yesterday, Prime Minister Netanyahu issued a statement in which he called this a enormous prize for Hamas and said that Israel would make a response after he gets back from the UN General Assembly to Israel this week. All he said about it, though, was to stand by.
The other thing the Prime Minister said yesterday, Olivia, was he bragged about expanding settlements in the West Bank, which presumably is one of the reasons why these Western countries are now recognizing a Palestinian state, or at least a two-state solution. And so I guess the question is, could the United States soon find itself as the only permanent UN Security Council member to not recognize a Palestinian state?
That's right. Yes, the usual holdouts that we hear about, China and Russia, have already done so. Now the UK has done so. France is expected to do so today. And so, yes, that leaves the United States as the only permanent member of the UN Security Council that does not recognize a Palestinian state. It had been for decades U.S. policy to support a two-state solution, provided that that was arrived at by direct negotiations between the Israelis and Palestinians, not these sort of unilateral declarations of recognition. That is more opaque. The focus has been of late on President Trump's insistence that there be a ceasefire and a hostage release in Gaza. Now, all of the hostages at once, not one by one. Of course, we understand those negotiations to be at a standstill following those strikes by Israel on Doha. Qatar, which had been serving as a mediator for the talks, the U.S. had asked the Qataris to get back on board to serve in that mediation role. But so far, Vlad, they are not back on board.
All right. Olivia Gazis reporting from the State Department for us this morning. Thanks, Olivia. Appreciate it.